Okay, g'day folks. What I'm going to talk about in this short video are the Elateridae, or the click beetles. Probably most of us are familiar with them, and we know them that they flick up into the air and make a click sound, and they flip up into the air. And as kids, we've grabbed them and they go click, 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 and they flick backwards and forwards. And that's a mechanism which has evolved in these animals only. It's quite unique to elatrids. It's a mechanism that's evolved to allow them to right themselves up once they're on their back. So if they land in a bad manner and they land upside down, they can flick. If they're being attacked by a predator, they can flick, and they might be able to allow them to escape. Because looking at the beetle, you can see that it's not particularly aerodynamic. Most beetles are not aerodynamic. They're not particularly good flyers. It's a bit like having a brick and putting a motor on it. If you've got a big enough motor, the brick will fly. But the landing aspect it's a bit more like a controlled crash. There's nothing delicate about it at all. These things do not have very good control in flight. So the chances of landing upside down is very, very high. And this is a side shot of that same species, and the species I'm going to show you in this video. And you can see, looking at it, that it's very rounded. So the top of it is very, very rounded. Its legs are not particularly long. So if it did land upside down, then if it did land that way up, it's going to struggle to get back onto its feet. So it has this ability to do that through this clicking process, through this reactive process. So looking at the underside of the animal, we have this elongated part here, which is called the prosternal process. It's obviously a very hardened, very sclerotized, hardened part of the animal. And then the other important aspect here is the mesosternal cavity found within the mesothorax. Now what happens is that when the animal's upside down and it needs to right itself, it pushes the prosternal process here. You'll see it pushing down hard against the leading edge of this mesosternal cavity. So it's sort of like that. It's pushing. This is the prosternal process. This is the leading edge of the mesosternal cavity, and the beetle is pushing up like this. And there must be, I haven't looked at it, but there's probably a little ridge underneath, I would think, on the prosternal process that it's catching on. So what the beetle is doing is it's building up pressure. It's applying force. It's burning energy to apply force, and it's building up. So it's accumulating potential energy. And eventually, boom, it overcomes, the applied force overcomes the resistance between the prosternal process and the mesosternal cavity. That resistive force is overcome, and the prosternal process slips down into the mesosternal cavity, which is smooth. So there's no resistance. Once it gets over that edge, it flies straight in. So of course what that does, that means the prothorax then quickly snaps up. It accelerates up. And one study I read, it accelerated up at 3,800 meters per second. So in doing so, it's flicking up, and that will then cause the whole animal to flick up. I haven't filmed it, I haven't videoed it actually in the air, but it'll probably flick up once. It might flick up once and then land down, and there's a higher chance, apparently from what I've read, of them landing on their feet than landing on their back. So what I've done in this video is I've held this beetle by the abdomen, and I've tried to film, or I've tried to video the actual process of it, so you can see the prosternal process being applied to the edge of the mesosternal cavity, and then you can see it slip in, and you can hear that, and that's what that click sound is. So there will be some sort of a little ridge under here, and that click sound will probably be when it snaps over that ridge. I don't know that for sure, but I would think that's probably what it is. So have a look at it, and hopefully you learned something. I did when I did this, so I thought it was quite fascinating. So thanks for watching. Cheers.